I thought I'd have until Monday, but my body decided to start its period last night on the plane. I, for real, started my period on the plane. And that shouldn't have happened yet. And in a rush today, I forgot to wear underwear. I am back in Mexico City and I'm walking to the clinic. I'm going in to figure out if we start stims today. I don't really know how I feel about today because I'm gonna have to do this over and over again for nothing. And that never really occurred to me, which is silly, until recently. It's totally plausible at 42 to have to do 10 retrievals to get one baby. I don't know if I'm up for that. I actually really didn't think this would go down the way it went down. Thought it was special. I don't know. Really just didn't think that's how it would go down. And it explains so much. Explains why I had all the miscarriages, so I'm grateful for that. At the same time, I really thought we'd be implanting after the second retrieval. So now that changes everything, changes all my plans. I don't know. I'm always logistical first and then feeling second. And I mean, but you saw how I cried. So I did cry. Logistically, don't know how all that's gonna work. And one of my besties from college who's also gone through IVF, she was like, listen, if you've got the time and you've got the resources, that's all IVF is a numbers game. And you're gonna have to keep going if baby number 3 is what you're really after. And that helped a lot to hear that. I am fortunate enough to have the time and the resources, although I'm trying to work out how I would keep having my family live in Mexico. My son's gonna miss his friends. He is starting some piano lessons here and Spanish intensive in person. He goes to the park every day. We are just looking at schooling and interactive opportunities for him if we are gonna be here a lot longer. It's really silly though to go through one round of IVF and to think about giving up, knowing what I know, and yet I don't like this. I don't want to keep going through this. And I keep saying to my husband, like, is this the right thing to be putting my body through and doing? He's so on board with like, whatever you want to do, let's do that. And he's like, it's your body, so I'm not gonna force you into this. And I love our boys, but I would really love another. So I'm gonna go meet with my doctor, see how that goes. Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Me llamo Jolene Brighton.
Sí. Vas a tomar asiento en un momento.
Perfect. I had to ask for a scone because we flew in and I forgot to eat and I'm going to do a blood draw and that's going to go really bad if I haven't eaten. And I have a massive headache. Probably from lack of sleep, but I know caffeine will help. So you might want to judge me, but it is what it is. We just have to see if what's here, if this is corpus luteum remnant from the last retrieval or if they're cysts. And if they're cysts, I'll have to go back on the pill. Not loving that. But if it's just remnant corpus luteum, we're gonna start stims today. So, time for a blood draw.
Un piquitito sobre.
Blood draw done. And now I chill with this view. I mean, and the amount of nature they put in this office definitely brings down the chill, but I ain't mad about this. I'm gonna wait now for the blood results. I also asked them to pull a thyroid because that majorly impacts follicular development and I wanna make sure that mine is right. And I got new meds, new protocol. So my doctor's like, we're not gonna do the same thing again and expect that we get different results. And I'm down with that. Only one injection too. Overall, I am really glad that my doctor is willing to change medications and try something new. I am also just like nervous because like last time worked, but didn't work. Well, we got all these follicles. My left ovary is usually the one that I ovulate from. Last time, oodles of eggs from that ovary. Unfortunately, this time it looks like there's only 5 follicles compared to like the 11 last time, because it may have cysts or corpus luteum. It's just not healed from the last retrieval. We're gonna do blood testing and see. My doctor thinks that this balcony is so cute with all those plants. Anyhow, my doctor thinks that she can get a little more follicles out of the left ovary to grow with this new protocol, but my right has 11. Now, every time I've had a miscarriage, it's been clear that I have ovulated from the left ovary, and my left ovary has been like the champion. But you know what? That did not produce genetically viable babies. So this time around, maybe the right ovary developing 11 is just what we needed. I don't know. We will find out. I feel like there's all these little things that I'm like negotiating and making deals in my head about, and being like, maybe this is a good sign, when in reality, like, you just never know. Starting the new medication, which I can share what that is. I just don't know off the top of my head. I just grabbed it, and then I'm like, I'm going to breakfast with my family because I'm starving. And we just flew in late last night, and they all just woke up. Oh, and when I got my drainage done, she felt something in the left, and she was like, missed the tree. She's like, it's something reproductive, and there's stuff going on with your intestines. It's just very interesting, another tree, very interesting to see what was going on with my left ovary today. And also, it really makes a case for not going back to back, giving at least 2 weeks between. I do feel hopeful trying a new protocol. We're not going to do any steroids this time, and getting the thyroid hormone on point. I mean, it has been, but I just really want to make sure it's on point this time so that we don't compromise any follicles. And if I can, I'm going to add NAD injections here, which I did NAD in Europe while I was there. I can share more about that. And now it's time for breakfast with my family.
What do you think she wants? Hey, what? I didn't even notice you.
Hi, baby. LH, FSH, estradiol, all down. It means it's time to start stims. So my first round of IVF, everything went flawless in a lot of ways. I was able to retrieve 20 eggs. There were 16 that were fertilized. And then in the end, we got 4 that made it to day 6, 2 of which were grade AA, looked amazing. And then they didn't make it. PGTA testing showed that they were genetically abnormal, and not like mosaic, or, you know, people always are like, oh, how accurate is it? Like, friend, when a baby's got a missing chromosome or 3 chromosomes, like, it's not viable. It's not gonna work. You'll hear my other baby right now. So I went into the clinic yesterday. We are starting now with a new protocol. And the reason why we're starting a new protocol is because my doctor was like, listen, we were able to get all those eggs, like, it was all great, but it didn't work out. So instead of doing the same thing over and over, which is the definition of insanity per Albert Einstein, we're gonna try something different. And so I'm gonna do 300 units. It's only 1 injection now. We dropped the Mirapur, so I don't have to do that second injection. This time around, left ovary's got some remnants of the corpus luteum left, and it's honestly not looking great, in my opinion. It's only got about 5 follicles, which we might be able to get a couple more through the stems. We shall see. My right ovary this time has 11 follicles, which is a good amount of follicles to be starting with. So that is really promising in terms of how many eggs we might be able to get. But at 42, you can have all the wonderful eggs in the world, and then they turn out not so wonderful. My husband and I were just in Europe, and in London we both got NAD treatment. So NAD plus helps the mitochondria with energy production. If you don't know, by the time you ovulate, that one follicle can have 100,000 to maybe even 600,000 mitochondria in it. So the mitochondrial health is really important. That's going to be part of getting that egg healthy, getting that egg, once fertilized, the embryo, to have the energy to go to make it to day 5. It's not that it's necessarily going to change. Oh, oh gosh, this is gonna be fun. It's not necessarily going to change how the genetics are. I mean, maybe we'll find out something in the future different than what I know, but as of right now, that's something that we added in. I was trying to get NAD injections here. I can't get them here in time, which is unfortunate for this round, but I might next time do sub-Q NAD injections, because yeah, there's probably gonna be a next time. I'm just prepping for that. I'm still taking CoQ10, taking my prenatal, exercising, tending to my microbiome, doing all of the things that we know can help. I'm also taking alpha lipoic acid, I take protein, I honestly take a boatload of stuff, which is why, you know, we think that, let me double check. Just double check, I got all 300 in there. So that's part of the reason why my doctor and I think that I was able to get as many eggs as I was able to get, and things fertilized, like my husband's on a whole protocol as well. Everything looked really good. I mean, even my doctor was like, I didn't think that all 4, I thought we would get at least 1, and I thought we'd get at least 1 too, but we didn't, and it sucks. And I had a big freaking cry about it, and I was in Paris when that happened. I said to my husband, like, I feel like bad things happen when we go to Paris, and yet I love Paris so much. Last year when we were in Paris, my husband's cousin passed away. It was someone whom he lived with in New Zealand. It was really sad. And then the time that we were in Paris prior to that, my son got pandas, pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder, and we found ourselves there for 3 months, and then we absolutely fell in love with Paris. And in a lot of ways, like, what's interesting is that I feel like bad things always happen when we go to Paris, and then at the same time, I'm like, Paris totally feels like home. Like, it always feels like home. Now, while in Paris, I got a lymphatic drainage treatment, which was amazing. I actually lost a lot of water weight off my legs and water weight off of my abdomen, which post IVF, I felt just like, I was like, I'm so bloated, and just like, I felt puffy and heavy. And I got this treatment done. You can see my legs, left leg that'll be on the right side, that after the treatment was significantly smaller. If you look at my calves, it's so much smaller. And then the water weight off of my abdomen, I was wearing these drawstring pants there. And after the treatment, I wish I had done a photo before, because, oh my God, after the treatment, my pants wouldn't stay up. After one treatment, my pants already don't fit. They're too big. That is how much things changed dramatically just from that massage, and they've continued to change. And that IVF didn't help. And part of that is also because I was on steroids, which I'm not doing steroids this time. I am staying with aspirin. So I've got my aspirin that I will be taking. And then I asked, like, why not steroids? And my doctor's like, I just think we need to try things differently. I also got my thyroid tested. I apologize for being like so freaking tired. We just got in from Paris yesterday, and I just can't sleep on the plane with the toddler. Get like 2 hours of sleep in a 10-hour flight, and then he got up at 4 this morning, which is not too bad. And we all went to bed at like 4 last night, and I got 9 hours, but I still feel really tired. Anyhow, I did my thyroid markers as well. My TSH is about 1.4. I usually have it around 1, less than 1. My T4 is on the lower end, and my T3 is definitely on the lower end. And that could be related to travel. T4 is so crucial to follicular development. It's actually found in the fluid of the follicles, and this is why not having sufficient T4 can be so detrimental to fertility, to ovulation, regular cycles, and increase the risk of miscarriage. Additionally, there's new research about T2, which is a thyroid hormone nobody tests. For a long time, medicine was like, it's not even, don't even worry about it. The body's making it, but like, don't worry about it, it's not a thing. And I just laughed because there's podcasts from me like 10 years ago saying, oh, you know, mark my words, we're gonna figure out that it does something, because much like the appendix and much like the tonsils, the things that medicine ever said, these are worthless, we don't need them. The body never does something for nothing. The body is really wise. And as it turns out, T2 is really important in mitochondrial metabolism. Also liver metabolism, which is crucial when you have all of these hormones with IVF. The nice thing about I'm already on natural desiccated thyroid hormone is it does contain T2 as well. So I think if my T3 and T4 are low, my T2 probably needs some love as well. And that may additionally help with the outcomes this time around. So when it comes to IVF after 40, there's the genetics game, but there's also the health of your mitochondria game and the health of your body overall. And it seems to be that fertility is one of the only places where epigenetics is like disregarded. They're just like, your genetics are what they are and there's nothing you can do about it. And yet we know that the environment influences genetic outcomes so much. And so I think this is just a frontier that we just don't have enough research in understanding. I think where this research is going to be born out of is all of the longevity research being done. Dr. David Sinclair coming out and saying, we don't have to die. Like, we have these young genes inside of us, or so to speak, these young coding capacity inside of us. We need to wake that up. And to me, if we've got leading longevity researchers saying we don't have to age, we don't have to die, then our ovaries don't have to go the same route as well. And it makes no freaking sense that we live as long as we do now, but we still are going through menopause at the same age and we're still having fertility struggles at the same age. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And there's a lot of researchers out there saying the same thing. You'll find clinicians who will probably be like, she's crazy for even saying that. They should hang out with researchers because researchers are saying the same thing. This doesn't make any sense that our ovaries are still aging at the accelerated rate beyond what our body is when we're living so much longer. So I just say all of that because doing NAD IVs, NAD injections, in doing near infrared light therapy over my ovaries, doing a lot of the stuff that's termed biohacking that I'm doing for my body, there's not a lot of scientific efficacy at this point to demonstrate that all of this is going to have a major impact. But I'm here now, and like, what am I gonna do? Wait around for the research for the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? Like, TikTok, that time will have passed. And not encouraging you to do anything without your doctor's oversight or making any promises to you. I'm just sharing my journey and what I'm doing with my body, and I am more than willing to experiment with things. And to me, it's not a big leap to go from you need healthy mitochondria to have healthy eggs. And these things help your mitochondria. So like NAD, for example, and I'll still hear doctors out there say, well, there's no direct evidence showing that NAD impacts the eggs. And I'm like, it's so silly to me. If the egg depends on the mitochondria and the mitochondria depend on NAD and they depend on you ending your showers in cold water to be healthy, and that we know near infrared light therapy is going to support decreasing inflammation, supporting mitochondrial health. Like, if we understand that all of these things impact the factors that impact fertility and egg quality and pregnancy outcomes, then why don't we just go upstream? I don't need a paper to tell me exactly that this will directly impact the egg. And in fact, as we've understood in research, I mean, for years they've been like, oh, like vitamin D isn't doing anything and it doesn't impact these factors here. And then they're like, wait a minute, but if we study giving vitamin D and vitamin A and making sure that like these other factors are in place, like it does have an impact. And it's like, what do you know? We don't live in isolation and we don't live in a little bubble here. It's a little ranty. I feel like I do get a little ranty, but it's just all to say that I think that why there's such stagnation in women's health and stagnation when it comes to fertility advances is because everyone's waiting for the study that demonstrates the direct impact on fertility itself, and nobody's looking at the research of what impacts the factors that impact fertility itself. And listen, I'm not advocating for people to go and do experimental treatments on people without their consent, or that we should just be willy-nilly going at it with like everything we've got. But I do think we just need to be a lot more creative in our exploration and to look towards the longevity research and to look towards how that is impacting cellular function, autophagy, our ability to have youthful functioning organs, and start applying some of that to the ovaries. One of the things that I was actually taught over 20 years ago in my nutrition education was that a caloric deficit was associated with longevity. And there were humans who were like, I'm just gonna sign up, I'm going to do this. And there's so many people that in the last few years are like, that's starvation, there's no evidence for that. This was taught in my aging classes about nutrition as one of the ways to slow down aging and to improve health markers and health outcomes. And we've now seen more people are adopting fasting. There's lots of people who are telling you that intermittent fasting is so bad for women. They're wrong, okay? They're totally wrong in making that blanket conclusion, that blanket statement. And why I say that is because it depends. So intermittent fasting has mostly been studied on men. We see people say, well, it's been studied on men, therefore we can't apply anything to women. Okay, true, we've got other things to consider. But then I see the same people being like, well, here's a mouse model on female mice, and they had these horrible outcomes. We can apply that to a human woman. And I'm like, no, that leap is way too far, friend. That is too far. Making a leap from man to woman of the same species, like a biological sex in the same species, that is a lot more plausible than making a leap from one species to the next when we're talking about this in particular. So what's important to understand is that intermittent fasting doesn't have to look like this 8-hour feed window only, or that you have to go like 5 days fasting. Although there may be efficacy in that, we may find that does help improve fertility outcomes when that is done 3 months in advance of trying to conceive. Because it is true that restricting calories and messing with your feed cycle in any way could very well mess with your ability to ovulate and have a healthy menstrual cycle. What we do know can be helpful almost universally, is a 12-hour fast. And that is, don't eat after 8 p.m., don't eat before 8 a.m. Oh, you're gonna like wake up and you eat at 7 a.m.? Great, move it to 7 p.m. That 12 hours has been shown to be great for gut health. It can be beneficial for our metabolic biomarkers. It can be helpful for inflammation. There's a lot of things that can help without hindering our ovarian hormone function. Going beyond that is where things get tricky, and then it may not be the best decision for you. And I just think that's really important to understand, because there are always blanket statements being made of like, everybody should do this. And you always have to ask the question of what is true for me. For me personally, I do longer fasts, and that's because that's what feels good in my body. After the egg retrieval or post-ovulation, when progesterone is up, I'm more in that 12-hour window, maybe a 14-hour window. And the reason for that is because that progesterone can lead to insulin sensitivity being decreased, and your carbohydrate need and your caloric need can be higher during that time. So a shorter fast window is better. And so if you are just regularly cycling prior to ovulation, that's where a longer fast window. There's my baby. Follicular phase, that's where a longer fast window may be appropriate, may work for you. If you find that you're hangry, sorry, I have children, this is the way it is. If you find that you're hangry, you're sweating, you're anxious, you're shaky, like this is not working for you. Like this is not something that you should be doing. If you already have hypoglycemic issues, not something you should be doing. If you already have instability of your blood sugar, not something that you should be doing. If you are pregnant, not something you should be doing, but it's not a pregnancy video, but just by the way, skipping meals, not a good idea while you're pregnant. Anyhow, fasting may have benefits for decreasing inflammation, for helping with insulin and glucose levels, and both of those things can directly impact fertility. You just want to be mindful, and I will actually put a link to an article I have on this. I have several at drbrayton.com. I will put a link down below. Other things to be mindful about. I'm being interrupted by children right now. You definitely don't want to jump in to extremes. Trying something short like a 12-hour fast, maybe all you need to start to see benefits. But one of the biggest things is getting away from snack culture. In the United States, people tend to want to snack and eat every like 2 or 3 hours, which is what we used to tell people like back in the 90s. We actually don't want to be doing that. Giving yourself breaks like 4 to 6 hours between meals throughout the day, that can be really helpful on your metabolic markers. It supports your gut health overall by helping your migrating motor complex, the nervous system of your gut, sweep things through. If you find you can't go 4 hours without having to eat again, you're probably not getting enough fiber, enough protein with your meals. You also want to make sure you're eating fat during your meals, but if you're not getting enough fiber and protein, you are not going to feel full as long. In general, women should be getting at least 25 grams of fiber every day. That will help you, especially if you're going through IVF. You're doing everything you can to jack up those estrogen levels. You've got to be supporting your excretion and metabolism of estrogen as well. And when it comes to protein, most of us, especially if you're going through IVF and you want to avoid ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, gonna do best with 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight every day. I know that you've probably heard the 0.8, that's too low for most people. If you are someone who strength trains, you may even need up to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Somebody else has a baby as well, and I can hear that, which means all the babies are awake. It is time for me to take my family to breakfast. As usual, drop your questions below. I'm happy to answer whatever I can. If you're not already following me on my other social channels where you can see me in my stories in real time, updating you about the goings-on around my ovaries and baby making journey, definitely do that. And thank you so much for being here.